Hello everyone. I welcome you all for this online course organized by Iara, Indian Academic Research Association. So today is the topic which I am going to handle this online course on establishment of EDC. EDC in the sense it is Entrepreneurship Development Cell. When we talk about Entrepreneurship Development Cell, there are many things which I wanted to share with you all fraternity. So being one individual fraternity whose academic contributions are more for teaching fraternities, it is very much transparent to all academicians. So when we are focusing on academics, it is not only to handle the class and to take attendance and to put entries on test marks like that, assignments, etc., etc. But there are some other things where one teaching fraternity have to contribute for the betterment of the student. Okay, so that thing only I am going to share on this online course. Right. Before starting my presentation, I want to introduce myself. I am Dr. Sasikala. I am an associate professor who is working at Acharya Institute of Graduate Studies located at Bengaluru. I am working for the Department of Commerce in that college. Alright. Now, under this online course, what are all the contents where I am going to touch? Now, we will be seeing a quick snapshot of all the things, what I'm going to share it with you all. First one, it is necessary. Which one in the sense, introduction is necessary. Next, educational institutions. The role of educational institutions in EDC. Okay. Then the objectives of entrepreneurship development cell. And the next content is hierarchical structure of entrepreneurship development cell. Right. And the next thing, after knowing all these things, we will be knowing about the status of the institution where we are working for. And to run this entrepreneurship development cell, we need some kind of funding. Right? What are all the opportunities which are available in funding? That also will be highlighted. Alright. Last one, the terms and conditions. So when we are speaking about all these contents, we will be having clear-cut idea at the end of the session, like how to establish an ED cell in an academic institution. Okay. Now, the next thing, first thing we will be concentrating on introduction. When we are looking for introduction about the ED cell, we all know many higher educational institutions are giving more focus on academic performance, but students are excelling their knowledge even in academics and also in extracurricular activities. This ED cell is a platform. First and foremost, we must know ED cell is a platform where we are converting the students in order to face the society in a bold way as a successful entrepreneur. Many students will be having an urge. What urge they will be having in the sense, I want to do business. Right? So, when I want to do business, when I am a student, I should know what kind of a business I have to do. Being a student, I do not know, but I'm interested to do some kind of a business. So, academic institutions, higher educational institutions must provide the platform or opportunity in order to mold that particular student in order to do the business in the future. It is not a nightmare. It takes 3 to 5 years in order to equip one student in order to do the business in a successful way. Right? So, when we talk about this entrepreneurship development cell introduction, so I I told you the gist of ED cell so far. So now it is very much transparent that all higher educational institutions are giving importance to enhance the knowledge of the students, right? Where this ED cell, whereas entrepreneurship development cell, the main focus of this ED cell is to bring out the potentiality. In what way? In order to convert job seekers into job generators. That is the ultimate focus of this ED cell. So when we are operating ED cell in our academic institutions, wherever you are working for, so in that college, one cell will be there that is called as ED cell, right? So each and every ED cell, wherever, whatever academic institutions are running off, that cell should have certain facilities. Some common facilities, basic facilities should be arranged in order to run this ED cell in an attractive way. Okay. Now, who can lead this ED cell? It doesn't mean that one academician can run the ED cell. No, that academician should possess some additional qualification. What qualification? In the sense that faculty, that fraternity should undergo training programs which is organized by ED cell associations. That we will be discussing in the later part. Now, when we are talking about this ED cell, right? So, this academic institutions will be coming forward. None of the academic institutions are going to deny to run the ED cell because all the colleges, higher educations, all universities also, they are prevailing in order to tune or to find some kind of transformation among the student community. So for that sake, ultimately these academic institutions will be undertaking its own role, right? It will be undertaking its own role and they will be blending. It is a combination of managerial skills and also some entrepreneurial skills which will be inserted into academic programs. That thing we have to remember. See, for the name's sake, if we are running some ED cell without any outcome in the sense, it is nearly waste of it. So, to bring more efficiency, to bring out more efficiency regarding this ED cell faculty or the member who is leading the ED cell in that particular college or a higher educational institution, that member should have undergone, so it should be specialized in that ED entrepreneurship area. So, when, for example, I am the ED cell coordinator of my college. So, when I am the ED cell coordinator, I should have undergone some kind of a program organized by some entrepreneurial expert. If not, I will be failed to train the students at certain points where they can become entrepreneur. So that entrepreneurship development cell is very, very important cell which will be playing a very dominant role for all the students where it has to invite more students into the picture. That is essential. Now, we discussed so far about the introduction of ED cell. Now, our topic is establishment of ED cell in higher educational institutions. So, first and foremost, we must know what are all the types of institutions, academic institutions which are operating in India. So, the colleges or academic institutions are running under many headings. Those things are listed here. One is private university. Second one, government universities, central universities, affiliated institutions. So in all these four arenas, the academic institutions will be running. So when we are asking for private universities, So private universities will be having its own authority to run or to operate on their own. So it will be having some kind of an autonomous condition. Decision will be taken by the own management. That is called as private university, where the infrastructure will be very high under private university. Private universities normally they will be giving preference for academic things also, but they will give more importance to the other activities where practically they will be equipping the students. Okay. Next, coming to government universities. Government universities is a notorious university which is the ancient form of universities where people used to gain knowledge, academic knowledge. Right? So it is an ancient university where it will be held by the government. For example, Bangalore University, Anna University, Madras University, JNU. So many universities are there. Right? Okay. Next one, Central University. When we talk about Central University, it will be operated at the central level, centralized. Okay. So, this Central University, one member will be a deciding authority for the Central University. And what is affiliated institutions? Affiliated institutions are the institutions which will be coming by any heading in any other form actually. So affiliated institutions do not have any decision making kind, but they do have their responsibility. They can take the decision in order to run the operations effectively. But what according to the guidelines of the private universities or the government universities or the central universities, accordingly the affiliated institutions have to act upon. Right? So, whatever might be the university, even if it is a private university or if it is a government university or if it is a central university or it is an affiliated institution, doesn't matter. Now, the purpose is they have to commence ED cell because without students, no higher educations will be operating. Right? So, with help of students, with the help of students only, the colleges will be running. If no students are there, no college will be there. So ultimately, now all the academic institutions have to think upon in what are all the ways. Apart from ED cell, there are several cells who will be acting for the students, for the benefit of the students. I will be naming few cells actually, which are very important cells, which will be very much known to all. Right? So in one college, NSS will be there, National Service Scheme will be there. NCC will be there. National Cadet Corps. Posh Cell. Right? Okay. And ED Cell. Okay. And then Discipline Committee. When you take all these kind of a cell, you just think over. The ultimate thing is that the cell will be working only for the students. Where the cell has to strengthen. I'm focusing now on ED cell community, ED cell thing actually. When I'm focusing on this entrepreneurship development cell, a faculty who is leading that cell should be an expert, entrepreneurial expert, as I told you. That entrepreneurial expert should have a very good exposure between the industries, external bodies. To put it in simpler terms, they should have very good exposure to the external bodies. So these are all the types of educational institutions which should possess the ED cell without fail. Okay. Now, when we talk about ED cell, it should have its own role to be performed. What are all its roles? What ED cell will do? I told you it will be tuning or finding some kind of a transformation in order to bring out the potentiality of the students and to make them as a job generators where they will be acting as a business owners. It doesn't matter whether it is a small business or large volume of business, doesn't matter. But we should identify the path for them. We should make them to understand the obstacles and crew them in order to solve that obstacles and to achieve their excellence. There the success lies on. Okay. Now, so when we talk about this ED cell is having their own role, own functions to be performed. What all its role in the sense? The first one is awareness camp. So to stimulate interest in the minds of the students, it is a responsibility of the ED cell coordinator, right, to conduct awareness camps. This awareness camps might be, first, students should know in our college ED cell is functioning properly. First one. Internally, everyone must know. Then, second point, this name and fame should be extended to external community also. What is that external community? Suppose, being an ED cell members, being an ED cell stakeholders, ultimately we used to conduct some kind of awareness camp for the benefit of the common public as a social responsible person. Right? Now, the students will be gaining knowledge and their interest will be stimulated. Now, the name and fame will be overspreaded. So, the first point is that to conduct awareness camps in various places, intra and external. Internal awareness camps are different, external awareness camps are different. Whereas internal awareness camps had been conducted for the purpose of the students. External awareness camps will be conducted for the purpose of the social community, societal community. Okay, so now the second thing, what is the next function where the ED cell will be performing? The next thing is that brainstorming session. For example, in ED cell, freshers. Now we will be focusing on freshers. So, first step, the orientation program will be conducted in front of the freshers, right? Okay. So now, in the freshers' mind, whenever we are highlighting the achievements, their interest will be highly boosted up. Oh, so many things are happening. I should be a part of it. So I want to join in that cell. So their mentality will be like that. So henceforth, what will be happening in this sense? Their interest will be slightly screwed. Right? Okay. That student should have some kind of ideas, business ideas. Those set of students should be assembled together as a ED cell member after they join the ED cell or before they join the ED cell. Brainstorming sessions should be conducted. Why this brainstorming session should be conducted? In order to break the ice. Right? I doesn't know who is that student. That student doesn't know that I am Dr. Sasikala. Right? So, in order to break the silence, this brainstorming session should be conducted. Not only to break the silence, right? But also to know what are all the ideas the students are having in order to commence business from their own. This brainstorming session will be very useful for the students who doesn't have any idea, but I wanted to join in this cell, and later on I will be equipping and I will generate my idea. For those set of students also, this brainstorming session will be highly useful. Right. Next one, business plan competitions. To draft a business plan is not an easy task. Right? To draft a business plan, one business plan. So when we are drafting, when we take ourselves as a teaching fraternity, right? When we write an article, so many places we used to break our head, right? So, this business plan competitions, it is the main important role of ED cell. Okay, the ED cell has to conduct this contest in front of the ED cell students. Right. What is the main motto? Why should we conduct business plan competition or contest? Right. We won't be knowing that plan, but the students will be bringing so many innovative plans into it. We doesn't know that business actually. By seeing that business plan only, okay, this is very good idea, unique idea, where the ideas whichever is unique and innovative, there the success lies on. It should be very, 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 very essential in order to seed in the mindset of students, right? When they are ready with a business plan, initiate students with innovative products or projects. Actually, in our college, okay, in our college, students are engaged in bringing out some innovative product. When we are hearing the ideas from them, ultimately we will be boosted up. Okay, because the ideas are quite innovative and challenging, where if it comes to a market, it will be highly successful. Some students will be bringing highly potential innovative products. Some students who are interested but they do not have any idea, they also will be bringing some nominal innovative product. We should not discourage them. We have to encourage them in a positive way. Always words of mouth will be having a strong influence. When we are merely appreciating, the students will be energized more. When they are highly energized, that time we can able to say their pitfalls. No, this product slightly you have to change, you have to modify this product like that project and all. So there are so many bodies who are soliciting these innovative projects. Even government is soliciting innovative projects, right? So being an ED cell, entrepreneurship development cell, where ED cell tries to coordinate the student with the external community through innovative products or projects. Okay. Next, organizing boot camps. What is boot camps? Here, in all academic institutions, one incubation center will be there. What is the role of that incubation cell? Incubation cell, without ED cell, incubation cell won't be performing effectively. Right? So, this incubation cell who will be hearing the ideas of the students. If they are satisfied, that incubator will be with the student and they try to connect with the student innovation with the external companies, where this incubator will be with them even after their education, after their degree. If that particular student is interested to release their product into the market, that incubator will be with the student. Okay, suppose 3-year degree, 5-year degree, whatever it is, 3 years degree or 5 years degree, doesn't matter. So after finishing the degree, if that student is interested, incubator contract and all should be signed. That is, separate formalities are there. Okay, so it will vary for institution from institution. Okay, so now the ultimate purpose of this incubation center is to assist or to guide the students in order to get the patent for their innovative product and to release their product into the market, to commercialize their product. Right? When they are taking so many steps for the purpose of the students, when they are doing so many process and all, that time students will be highly visible about all the obstacles, whatever they are facing on, right? So at the end of the, once the products are commercialized, ultimately that person, that particular student, that particular graduate will become the owner, authoritative owner of that particular product. Okay. So that kind of a thing should be performed by ED cell. Suppose in few colleges, academic institutions, the problems are there. One ED cell will be there and separately incubation centers will be performed. So that ED cell should have a proper, a very good professional relationship with the incubation or with that incubator. Right? Incubators will be having very good association with all external companies. They would have signed contracts and all. So if any AD cell wants any help, they can approach incubators where the incubators will be ready to render their services for the benefit of AD cell. And next one, mentoring. This mentoring, not only in ED cell, in each and every aspect of the student's development, mentoring is necessary. No one can deny that. Right? This mentoring, always it will be successful. Always this mentoring should be successful means what should be done? The guide or a student who are getting some kind of mentorship, or the faculty or the fraternity who is mentoring one student, their mentoring pedagogy should be completely unique, where all the mentoring should be executed. Okay, so few pitfalls I can find out in this mentoring. What are all the pitfalls in the sense? Okay, what are all the pitfalls in the sense? When students are coming and approaching the teaching faculties, that teaching faculty just they will be mentoring, but they fail to follow up the students. Follow up is very much essential under mentoring. Why follow up should be done? Follow up should be done for the to find out the progress of that particular students regarding their innovation. Okay, now whole universe is expecting the innovative product, right? So this mentoring is very important. Effective mentoring and with the follow-up, surely it will make the students to bring out some kind of innovative product for the purpose of the society, and ultimately the society also will be developed. Okay, the next role of entrepreneurship development cell is that where the cell will be assisting, right? The cell will be assisting the potential student entrepreneurs, right? It will be assisting the student entrepreneurs of, suppose I want to do some kind of textile business in an unique way. For this sake, to assist, just for name's sake, ED cell members or coordinator or in charge should not assist. Whenever you are assisting, whenever an in charge or the ED cell members are assisting any kind of student entrepreneurs, they have to gain the knowledge out of it. Okay, they have to gain the knowledge out of it, right? In the processing of how they can set up the business, right? How they can set up the business. So in product life cycle, there are 4 stages, which is normally known to all teaching fraternities, where I'll be highlighting about that now. So product life cycle, like human being product is also having its own life cycle. First one is introduction stage. Introduction stage where the students are implementing their product into the market. What will be the status? Where they cannot fix the high price. Why? Because there are many players into the market. So competitions will be very heavy. So in this condition, what will happen? They have to fix very minimum prices and they have to increase their quality. Doesn't mean that quality also should be cheap. Always the quality should be highly predictable by the customers or the consumers. Accordingly, the product should be delivered under the introduction stage, that is the first stage. Next one, when that product slowly it is facing the boom stage. That stage is called as growth. Okay, your product is slowly increasing. The sales of your product is slowly increasing, right? So that stage is called as growth stage. Under this growth stage, you can fix maximum price, where you have to increase your sales volume also, because your sales are increasing. Demand is equal to supply. When demand is less than supply, it is loss for you. When demand is more than supply, it is profit for you. You cannot say it is profit. That time also you will be attaining some kind of a loss. You will be having 500 pieces of your product, but the demand is 1000. So remaining 500 you don't have. Ultimately you will be facing loss only, because you don't have that product. Production is made only up to 500. Now, in this stage also you will be facing loss. So always the demand is equal to supply. Right. So once faced this growth stage, again slowly what you have to do as an entrepreneur, student entrepreneur. So this student entrepreneur will be taking some special effort and bringing so many changes into the product according to the advice of the customers. All the changes are incorporated into the product, and one time that product will be attaining maturity stage, where you are the market leader. When you are the market leader, there won't be anyone to beat you. Whatever you are saying, that is final. So this is called as maturity stage. You can ask me whether all the products will attain the maturity stage. No, it is not possible. Why? Because the effort, the contribution, what you are making is necessary. Okay. When you are not contributing anything and you want to attain maturity stage, in the sense, it is not possible. When you are giving more effort and then also you could not able to do, in the sense, something is missing in that. You have to find out that linkage, astral linkage you have to find out. What is that astral linkage? If you are finding out with the help of R&D, research and development. Through research and development only, innovative projects or products will be brought upon, or else no. Right? So, the product, once it attains the maturity stage, slowly it will be facing decline stage. What is the decline stage? Once, say, market leader, 1 year they can be market leader, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. But due to many new entrants, many private players into the market, more innovation into the market, that product who is in the maturity stage have to face decline stage. And again they have to start it from the beginning. So this product life cycle will be rotating in a cyclical way. One stage, it doesn't mean that they will be sticking on that particular stage. No. They will be facing all the stages, the product, whatever they are implementing into the market, they will be facing all kinds of stages. But they have to bring out some necessary changes where and when that changes to be done. Right? So, to bring out all these things, ED cell will be giving clear-cut knowledge to the students. They have to give practical exposure, right? By taking them to any industrial visits to see the operations, how it is happening, and make them to interact with the industrialists. All these are the possible opportunities where they can attain the gain the knowledge in order to manage the new venture what they are going to set up in the future. Right. The last role, it is the guest lecture and interaction between professional and student entrepreneurs. Always, always, when any expert will come and speak in front of you, you will be listening to them because they will be showering their knowledge into this particular aspect. So bud, being a bud, that particular student or a member will not be having that much of exposure. After hearing the session, they will be some kind of an expert in that particular field. So, interactive guest lecture is possible. It should be performed, and where some kind of interaction should be done between the professional expert and also student entrepreneurs. There are professional entrepreneurs who are successfully doing their business. When we are hearing these stories through interaction, we will be ultimately motivated. At once, they cannot act as a successful entrepreneur. They would have faced more than 5 years challenge, and one fine day they will be acting as a successful professional entrepreneur. So, through merely interaction between professional entrepreneurs and also student entrepreneurs, they can able to gain the knowledge out of it, and also through interactive guest lectures too. So all these are the roles where the ED cell has to perform, right? Where the ED cell has to perform in order to bring out the exposure, theoretically and also practically. If we ask if we ask one question to the student, like what is pull and push strategy, they students will be giving their own comments. So theoretical knowledge also should be showered to them, right? So which is ultimately important. All these roles should be performed in entrepreneurship development cell. So when all these roles are performed, ED cell will be having its certain functions, right? ED cell will be having its certain objectives to be performed, right? So, ED cell is not a separate wing where it is one wing of the institution. Where if we take crow, if we take any kind of a bird, it won't be having only one wing. It will be having so many feathers, and so many feathers collectively we used to call it as a wing. Right. So, it is an institutional mechanism. If there is no academic institution, no ED cell. Right? So, it is an institutional mechanism which helps to try to find out some kind of transformation from budding student into successful entrepreneur. Right? Okay. So, when we are bringing this kind of a transformation, ultimately we have to inculcate some kind of entrepreneurial culture. A culture depends on localities. When academic institutions is located at any kind of a modern city, there the culture will be entirely different from the academic institutions which are located at rural area. Now, when ED cell sets up the objective, before framing the objectives, their vision should be finalized. What is that vision? Suppose you are forming ED cell, your college is forming, your academic institution or forming ED cell today. After 2 years, how this ED cell will be? That is called as vision. Vision in the sense, it is the long-term goal. You all know what is long-term, short-term and intermediate term, right? Right. Now, The vision should be ultimately clear for the ED cell members. Right. In order to attain that vision, mission should be framed. What do you mean by mission? Mission is small steps in order to achieve the vision. Okay. Now, once vision is clear and also mission, so many missions are adopted in order to achieve the vision, their ED cell will be running very effectively with the supporting members. Now, the next objectives. Now, it is acting as a challenge also. What kind of a challenge in the sense? Some gaps will be there. What gap? The gaps between academic institutions, industries, R&D, right? Who are promoting NGOs, SMEs, voluntary organizations. If an academic institution is very much sticky on only academic activities, in the sense that particular students will be excel in academic activities and will be zero in all the other activities. So, one successful academic institution should be overall expert. Then only the students who are studying in that academic institutions are also will be considered as the future heroes of entrepreneurs. Okay, so how that entrepreneurs will be shining in the sense with the help of R&D, as I discussed already to you, right? Where all these academic institutions, industries, corporates, R&D institutions, everyone will be engaged in what? In promoting NGOs. We all know what is NGO. It is non-governmental organizations where their main motto is to render service to the needy people. Right? And SMEs. You all know what is SMEs. SMEs means it is small, medium enterprises. And next thing, voluntary organizations. Some organizations, they won't be registered. For example, self-help group, we used to call it. Under self-help group, women self-help groups are there, normal common self-help groups are there. So, we have to close that gap and find out some kind of a connections between them. Okay? And we should, like, ED cell should meet. So many challenges will be there. So many obstacles will be coming. So, how these challenges will be avoided? How these challenges will be broken? If I do not know to whom I have to approach to solve this problem, your academic institution head will be there always in support of you. Right? Okay. Your chairman will be there always in support of you. Okay. So, with the support of these academic institutions and the top level management, ultimately we have to meet the challenges whichever is operating at the institutional level, society level, and also global wide. Right? So as I told you, to bring out a merely innovation among the students. As today's world is expecting more innovative things. They are not happy with the traditional things, as the taste and preferences are changing quite often. They used to demand more innovative products. A simple example I would like to quote with you. In earlier ancient days, during my grandma's days or mother's generation, okay, so those days there were no proper modern equipments, where more manual work were involved. In our generation, what happened? Modern equipments came out, right? Mixie came out, grinder came out, okay, vacuum cleaner came out, fridge, washing machine, everything came out. All these happened because of innovation. Okay. So, all these technological innovation is making some kind of laziness among the human, today's generation. Ultimately, today's gen, they are not that much healthy. So topic is not in that. So I'm not going to speak on that. Now, what are all the challenges which are required to meet up? The ED cell has to meet all the challenges too. The challenges, it is not that it will be only from the institutional side. No. It also will be from the community side, social community side. When any third person will come and ask you something. Madam, I'm interested to create one startup. I need your help. So when this will happen, in the sense that particular ED cell coordinator is having very good exposure within the social community, that time they can able to help in order to enlighten the society. Not only national wide but also international wide, and at the global level also the challenges will be becoming, because to get patent is not an easy task. There are so many processes, the papers which has to be signed, documentation and all, it is required for the owners. The procedure for the students, it will be not known. But ED cell will be helping them by joining hands with the incubators, and their patent will be processed. And it will be done at the international wide too, based on the demand and nature of the product. So all these are the objectives. Once all the objectives are framed, it will be very, very smooth to run the operations at the efficient level. Okay. Now, when we are speaking on ED cell, there are some hierarchical structures should be followed. Right? So what are all the hierarchical structure of ED cell, in the sense it will be headed by that academic institutional head who will be named as the principal. And that academic institution head will be appointing one coordinator or in charge who will be leading that particular institution for promoting this entrepreneurial skills among the students. That particular in charge will be appointing 2 or 3 faculty coordinators, right? 2 or 3 faculty coordinators. Why? Because it is not to join people into these cells, but to strengthen the cell. If we clap, if we clap like this with our fingers, the sound will be less. When we compare to clap by joining hands with 4 or 6 hands. So ultimately, ED cell in charge will be appointing 2 to 3 faculty members in order to strengthen and to widespread the activities of this particular ED cell, and the next student coordinators will be there. Where suppose there are 15 to 20 students are there in the ED cell. 15 to 20 students are the strength of ED cell. So among these 15 students, there will be 5 students who will be acting as the coordinator. One student coordinator will be focusing on marketing. One student will be focusing on finance. One student will be focusing on bringing some kind of potentialities. One student will be acting as a PRO. So all these will be happening with the help of ED cell student coordinators, where with the knowledge of this ED cell in charge, ED cell faculty coordinators, this student coordinators will be appointed, and finally ED cell members also will be there. So all these are the hierarchical structure of ED cell. So I told you the principal will be the first topmost authority. The principal will be the topmost authority. If any ED cell activity should be performed in an academic institution, it is always better to have an interaction with the principal and to run the competition or any kind of event in the college. It is advisable to all the teaching fraternities. Why? Because we are not independent. We are dependent. We are not even dependent, but we are interdependent. Okay. It is not the matter of dependent or independent, but we are interdependent. So it is always to discuss whatever is happening in your cell, in ED cell. It is always to put a word with the top of the institution and to carry out with the function. So as now I hope that structural hierarchy is clear to all how to set up. Okay. Next, when any academic institutions wants to create ED cell, entrepreneurship development cell, all the institutions can set up the cell? No. There are some status to be achieved for the institution. So, what is that status to be achieved by the institutions in order to create ED cell into that particular institution? So, first and foremost, that college or institute have been accredited by NAC, National Assessment Accreditation Council, UGC, AICTE. And there are so many bodies also. IC is there. Okay. There will be so many bodies where any institutes are there, if they want to set up ED cell in the sense they want to be accredited. The institution should be accredited by any one of the apex bodies. Okay. Next. Any member, any faculty, any teaching fraternity will be acting as a in charge of the ED cell in that particular academic institution in the sense. That faculty should be multifaceted faculty. If that faculty is excel only in this particular discipline, but all the other disciplines they don't have any knowledge in the sense, they could not able to run the cell effectively. So all 360-degree knowledge that particular faculty should possess. Knowledge should be possessed. And that particular in charge should be very much dedicated. And that in charge should have very good R&D knowledge. And also they should have how the corporate will be running. All industry related activities also must be known. Okay. Next, as I told you, either faculty in charge or faculty coordinators, they should have undergone training through DSP sponsored FDPs. Department of Science and Technology. It's called as DST. DST means it is sponsored FDPs, Faculty Development Program. So, who will be calling as an authorized faculty coordinator for the ED cell in the sense it is the faculty. Any two faculties. I told you one in charge will be there, 2 to 3 faculty coordinators will be there. So among these 4 to 5 faculties, any 2 faculties have to undergone a training which is offered by DST or sponsored programs or FD. Okay. So when you want to set up ED cell in your institution, sufficient space, allotted space should be there, which will be having some basic facilities. One room should be there, table should be there, chair should be there, computer should be there. Now without computer, none of the work will be carried out. So computer will be there. All these arrangements will be done with the help of institutions only. Where the institution is promoting the ED cell. Okay. And they are insisting to run the ED cell in a perfect manner. Name board will be there, ED cell name board will be there, and the members with the vision, mission, everything will be affixed. Okay. So, with that facilities, every member will be interested. If the room is quite extraordinary, who won't be like to join the cell actually? Right? So, adequate space right? Including common facilities whichever is required to run the or to set up the ED cell. Okay. Next, if any ED cell, if any ED cell wants to conduct any kind of workshops, for example, SPSS workshops are there. Okay. So institution wants to associate with any kind of association wants to join with EDCL in order to run the workshop in the college, in an academic institution. So at this case, that academic institution should have very good lab facilities and very good network facilities with the internet facilities too, right? So, when we are conducting workshops, many external people will be coming to our campus to attend the workshop. Entrepreneurial workshops will be is there. So many very posh people will be coming to our campus to attend that workshop. When the infrastructure is not that much good in the sense, it won't be earning good image for the purpose of ED cell, which will be ultimately damage the image of our parent institution also. Okay, so where the workshop should be conducted, to conduct the workshop, the labs and computational facilities should be offered by the institution. And next, when whomever is running, acting as an in charge, that in charge, that faculty coordinators of that particular ED cell can be experienced one. We cannot appoint any fresher towards it, where that expert should engage in R&D, product development activities, pilot run activities, prototype activities. So when we are talking about product development, pilot run is essential, prototype is essential, right? After prototype, testing will be made. After testing, calibration will be made. So everything is chain process only, right? The basic is consultancy. What is the purpose of consultancy? In order to develop something, when we are developing something, we will be conducting some kind of pilot study focusing on few samples, right? After conducting the pilot study, we will be testing the samples and then we will be implementing, and to achieve the excellence, we used to work hard, right? So being an institution, we all know institution is having all side work. It doesn't mean that institution will be focusing on only this. No. Institution will be having from this side one work will be there, this side one work, this side one work, this side one work, this side one work. So institutional all six sides, head full eyes should be there. Doesn't mean that one individual or the principal will be having eyes here, and all. No. It is the responsibility of the coordinator or the in charge of that particular cell in order to make excellence about that particular cell in that institute. So all these are the institutional status in order to set up ED cell. Okay. Now, when we are speaking on funding opportunities of ED cell, when we are I told you when so many events to be conducted on behalf of EDC, workshops, awareness camps, for all these funding is required. There are some agencies who used to offer funding. So some agencies who used to offer funding opportunities for the benefit of the ED where the ultimate thing should be reached to the target audience. Okay. So, who are all the funding of funders for the ED cell in an academic institution? Right? Okay. There are few bodies which I have listed here. MHRD, AICTE, NSTEDB, MSME, private body, NGOs. So all these are the 6 professional bodies where they will be giving some kind of a fund. When they are giving funds, blindly they won't give funds. For that, you have to prepare one proposal. For whatever event you are conducting, you have to prepare one proposal, and that proposal will be reviewed by the funding agency if they are satisfied, and if your proposal is having content validity, they will be funding your program. Suppose if ED cell in charge wants to conduct 7 days program, 7 days workshop on entrepreneurial development. So each and every day, one expert the ED cell members will be soliciting in order to give some kind of a program. So for that sake, the participant should be there, right? It doesn't mean that it can be run with 5 participants, 10 participants. No. Minimum there should be 20 participants. 20 to 30 participants should be there. Right? Suppose you are receiving 2 lakhs as a fund. I am talking very nominal amount. Even 15 lakhs, still 15, 20 lakhs are there based on the nature of your program. Okay. So when you receive 2 lakhs, it's a 7 days program where you have to, ED cell have to submit all the financial documents, and settlement report should be sent to that funding agency within that stipulated time period prescribed by that funding bodies. That is highly essential. Without that, they will not recognize your activity. Attendance sheet should be attached. Generally, the proposal will be there. They will be checking, reviewing all the proposal. If any one point is unique, they used to sanction the amount. When they are sanctioning the amount, you will be enjoying it. Ultimately, ED cell will be facing not only ED cell, the cell whomever is getting fund, they will be struggling a lot in order to settle the report and to send to the funding body. It is not an easy task. But at the same time, it is prestigious one when any cell receives funding. It increases the name and fame of that particular organization also. Okay? Alright. Now, when we are discussing about all the things, operational level we discussed, hierarchical structure we discussed, role we discussed, objectives we discussed. Now, by keeping in mind all the objectives, on what basis we are framing all the objectives, there are certain terms and conditions. Okay, there are certain terms and conditions for the ED cell. I am talking exclusively for entrepreneurship development cell. Right. When I am focusing on this ED cell, simply when students are joining, where students are also not doing anything, where faculty members are also not contributing anything in the sense, the cell prevailing of that cell is of no use. So, when there is ED cell in an academic institution, at least per year, they should conduct one program. What program in the sense? It might be any program. Being the first stage, we will take that entrepreneurship awareness program. How many days? It is not for a single day. It should be for 3 days. Where how many participants should be there? There should be minimum 30 participants. Then the funding bodies will be accepting that it is valid. Right? And there are one more condition for the faculties for leading the cell. What is that condition in the sense that faculty should have undergone training at Entrepreneurship Development of India, which is located at Ahmedabad. Right? Okay. Next, Any skill development program should be organized by the ED cell with minimum 30 participants. Okay, right. Later on, when any entrepreneurship awareness program is to be conducted for certain duration. For example, if we consider for 6 to 8 weeks duration, how many participants can be there in the sense? It can be for 20 participants. I told you funding opportunities, funding agencies, about funding agencies and all. That funding agency, I told you, we have to send the settlement report after the program. That program might be workshop, guest lecture or boot camp or any kind of brainstorming session with an expert, etc., etc. So whatever program for how many days we are conducting, for those days we need to send a settlement report. In that settlement report, some amount will be recurring amount, some amount will be non-recurring amount. So what is that recurring amount? Recurring amount will be meant for giving some kind of honorarium for the speakers, and also to run that program successfully, what all the amount which had been spent, that amount which will be coming under recurring grant head. Under non-recurring grant head, where for the purpose of ED cells, they used to purchase some kind of an equipment, where the amount will not be given back, where that amount is converted into certain asset of the institution. So this is called as non-recurring grant. So all these reports should be attached and sent to the funding agency once after the program is over, within that stipulated time period. Now, being a teaching fraternity, it is a challenge to all of us. Yes, it is a challenge to all of us during this COVID-19 situation. Since it is airbounded in the current scenario, we could not able to operate by physically present at the institutions, but we are engaged through online. We should not be stopped by contributing our effort. Whatever we can through online, we can able to expose to the students. That is very much important. As a societal concerned person, I would like to tell you one small tip which is apart from the program. It is a small kind of tip for you in order to increase your immunity power. Okay. This is for your betterment I'm talking about. Now, when we are telling, okay, when we are telling take 10 yellowgrams, 2 black pepper, a quarter spoon of jeera, and chew it nicely, and it should be like solid thing should be converted into liquid, like that you have to chew it and swallow it after your meal 3 times. Morning after your breakfast, afternoon after your lunch, night after your dinner. 10 yellow 2 black pepper, quarter spoon of jeera. Chew it, swallow it, where your throat will be very much clear, where it will increase your immunity power also. Thank you so much for listening this online course. We try to build up the entrepreneurial nations among the students, and we try to generate job providers than job seekers. Thank you one and all. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to IARA. Thank you very much.